What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. It's in the beans, and I'm your host, Deep in the Beans today, Simon Grunewald, joined as always by my co-hosts Joey Wright and John Luke Garofalo. What's up, boys?
What up?
Let's go. I'm back to second billing. I like it.
Dale shaved his mustache off and got promoted. Is what happened right there. You're one mustache behind Joey. Joining us today, also mustacheless and ahead of Joey in the rankings on today's show, we've got our great friend Davis Peng with us. For those of you that do not know Peng, he is a best ball wizard and a best ball writer over at Fantasy Six Pack and Stokastic.com and host of his new Road to 150 show. Peng, thanks so much for taking the time to come on and talk some rookie tiers with us today.
Oh man, I'm excited. I always wait to pop on the show. I catch it when I can. You guys are always during my lunchtime, so I have to like rewatch a lot of these, and then I lose. I still lose in the game, even though I could cheat. That's the worst part. I can pretend like I'm winning. No,
yeah. We have a lot of rewatchability. I feel so that's okay.
Which I like the chat. Like the chat has always been my favorite part of FYF. You guys have like the best chat.
It's because it's the best part of FYF.
It is the best chat. Like it really is. A lot of the guys, and you top it off, it's like guys I've got to meet in real life. So it is like my friends and then my friends that I have. So it's just a whole bunch of it. So
they're here.
I'm glad to be back though, and
they're here in full force. Ready for you today, Peng. Craig down here saying, "What do you call it when a penguin is smiling? A pen-grin." And what is a penguin's favorite pasta? Penguini.
That's a good
one. That one was better. There we go, Craig. We just needed a warm-up joke. Victor in here, hyped for today's show. Says, good afternoon, bro. Chachos. Stay thirsty. It's Thursday, baby.
Let's go.
Also, Dame in the chat with the hello, peeps. What's up, Dame? Welcome in, my friend. We got Feiji in the chat saying Quentin Johnston may fall far and wind up with a great quarterback. We'll probably talk a little bit today. Dave in the chat says it's FYF time, baby. It's Dave time, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Albert down here.
Is that Dave?
Smells like Canada and
what is that?
I can't quite place my
finger on it. Canada and Topgolf?
Dave,
weird combination.
Today?
Yeah.
Albert in the chat. Dave. What's up, Albert? Welcome in, my friend. And Mr. Scammer said, good 3 minutes afternoon, FYF fam. And Peng. With the heart
good evening, Cat.
And then Feiji has a question for us. Wants to know who's the Simon Cowell of the NFL? Peng, if you had to identify a Simon Cowell of the NFL, who would it be?
Someone that's completely just gonna crap on anybody.
How do you take Simon Cowell to mean?
Yeah, whatever he means to you.
I think from a fantasy aspect, it might be me because I'm a rookie hater. Like I just hate rookies coming into the year. I'm always like, rookies always suck year one, and I'm always negative about it. So I guess in that sense, I would from fantasy aspect probably me for best ball. I hate it. Always have, always will. Veterans are the way to go. DeAndre Hopkins is not too old, that kind of thing.
Let's take a DeAndre Hopkins over Quentin Johnston. I think it's Mike Tomlin because I think there's an element of Simon Cowell that we're missing, and that is the sweetie pie element. You know what I mean? He is a hard ass, but he also is a total sweetie pie who's trying to like help people out. You watch him on America's Got Talent, that dude breaks down for a sob story or a successful child, or like he can't handle it. He'll hit the golden buzzer and have this little smirk on his face, like he's so happy. Mike Tomlin's got that too. You know what I mean? He's a bit of a hard ass.
Is that why Najee got drafted? Because he was like an orphan? Is that like why he went in the first round? He came from an orphanage?
I don't think so. It was probably his running back track record at Alabama.
It was all like Najee came from an orphanage, and that's why he had to take him.
That was his American Idol story. You know what? But the draft night coverage might as well be the American Idol like audition intro sequences with the level they dig up past trauma for these people. They try to make it like a reality TV show.
It's the worst.
And if you don't have a former dead teacher, they'll kill him for you.
Roger Goodell makes it happen.
Yeah.
Fiji in here says Bill Belichick.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And
that's a good one.
The only problem is Belichick is already the Gwen Stefani of the NFL.
Oh, yes.
So how could he be the Gwen Stefani and the Simon Cowell? No. Well, guys, today we brought Peng here to help us out with some rookie tiers. We're going to be looking at this incoming rookie class. The draft is less than a week away. Or is it exactly a week away? When's it
It's
happen?
exactly a week away.
Exactly a week away. Less if you don't look at the time on the clock right now and just at the date. More if you do look at the time on the clock and
And less if you close your eyes.
and whatever you want. Think
and about the same if you take that pill that's just sitting on your desk.
That you don't know where it came from.
Nope.
Well, that was a Sharpie, not a pill, Joe.
Bad advice.
What kind of pills are you taking?
Sharpie pills.
Sharpie pills?
Sharpie shaped pills.
The ones that have permanent effects on you?
Good one.
Thank you.
Also,
That wasn't good.
I see Calvin in the chat coming in with the mock draft and 420 and the start of Fiesta here in San Antonio. Let's
What a freaking
go!
day, Calvin. What a freaking day. And it's my grandma's birthday.
Yeah.
Easy to remember every year. Never forgotten it.
Never forgotten Grandma's birthday.
Nope.
Grandma is celebrating. And for those of you who don't know what Fiesta is, it is basically a 10-day party that happens here in San Antonio. They have parades and parties and events, and people collect pins, and you run around, and there's fun outfits and music and concerts and drinks. And I've accidentally left town the first 3 years that I've lived in San Antonio during Fiesta.
Oh, no.
So this year I will be here for it. I'll be
Is
here.
the
for it.
Riverwalk like going off during Fiesta?
No, they leave it on.
It's all lit up.
Yeah, they leave the Riverwalk on.
No, I mean never mind.
I know. I'm just being smart.
Is that like the hub of Fiesta? Like, go to the Riverwalk.
They definitely do a lot of events over there.
Okay.
Well, guys, before we get into our tier list, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you are not already following our friend Davis Peng
Do it.
on Twitter, go and follow him
Please.
right now. You can find him on
Do it
Twitter
now.
at Peng's Picks. It is right there below his handsome face on the screen. And it's best ball season, baby, with the NFL draft going next week. And Peng is the dude that you want to be following when best ball season kicks off. So it is perfect timing to fix that issue if you haven't already done so. After you do that, if you're watching this show and you're on our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy, hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell as well. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of our shows here at our old time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, every day, Monday through Friday for the Fantasy Football Game Show.
And
You
other
guys ready
stuff.
to get into some tiers?
Oh, yeah.
I am.
It has been a minute since we have done a tier list. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to talk a little bit about how this is going to work, and then we are going to get into it. We're making communal tiers here today. We're going to be working together to put these rookies into rough tiers. We can add more if we need more by voting one by one on which tier we think they go in. So we'll take turns nominating a player. If I'm up first, I'll pick one of these rookies I want to talk about. I'll say what tier I would put them in. We will then go down the line saying what tier we put them in, a little bit of rationale there. We're going to average the numbers out. And whatever tier they end up in is the tier that they're going to go in. If it ends up directly in the middle, the tie will go to the guest. So wherever the guest voted higher or lower is going to be where that player ends up.
All right.
You guys ready to get into this a little bit?
Let's do it.
Okay. Peng, since you're here as our guest, I'm going to let you jump in there first and pick which rookie you want to start off on whenever we're talking 2023 rookie tiers.
Do I just go with like the easiest one on board? Do I just
You.
take it?
You can either pick the easiest one or you can make it difficult immediately. It's your call, and we're happy either way.
Can I phone a friend? I think this is the way I need to go. I need to phone a friend on this one. B Honda 1, right? Like that's the given.
Bijan Robinson. Do you buy into the best prospects and Saquon Barkley talk that's coming out? Bijan Robinson out of Alabama Bijan Robinson out of Texas running back.
I don't know. People have been stretching this a lot. I've heard the best prospect in 10 years, the best prospect in 15 years. And I don't buy into any of that. I think Saquon was very special. They were comparing him to wide receivers on all his metrics. Like he's as fast as Julio Jones, smarter than a whale, like all sorts of things. They were going for Saquon.
Smarter than a whale.
Like I don't know. I remember all these like crazy metrics people did for Saquon. I don't think Bijan's getting that type of hype yet. For fantasy, one thing, but I think from an NFL analyst standpoint, I remember a couple years back, Saquon got compared to every possible metric you could from every position, heavier than a left guard, faster than like Julio Jones, just all sorts of stuff. So I don't think so. We haven't got a quads photo either. So
Oh, can you imagine when we do? It's going to break the internet.
Yep.
So Bijan at 1, right? The top tier.
Uh-oh. Simon's gone. I was like, why isn't Simon talking?
Oh,
Oh, Simon's gone. All right, so the tier list is gone. So we can't show that anymore.
no.
Simon will be back soon, I am sure. But before he does, Peng, who outside of Bijan, or where do you think Bijan Robinson is going to slot in when you look at like a startup draft? Where are you drafting him?
I mean, every dynasty I've been in is a super flex. Everyone has a consensus 101. So my teams are bad.
101 in like a startup draft?
In a startup, no. Probably first rounder. I still think at the back end. I think people just love young running backs. I mean, after all the quarterbacks go, everyone wants the youngest running back. Anytime a running back turns 26, 27, or second contract, everybody's off that train. I've noticed. We used to say 30 to 31 was good. Now it's 27. Like, you know, that guy turned like Derrick Henry is like 29 and he's the oldest man in the NFL, like all of a sudden for like his position, which is crazy when you think about Adrian Peterson was like 32 before we started really talking down about him. Or LaShawn McCoy, you know, those kind of guys. We thought they would play forever. Steven Jackson, Fred Jackson, those type of guys. Like, but the minute you turn 27, you're old man. Like people talk about Dalvin Cook, like he ain't is good anymore.
I know he's like old man already.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, like how many kids does Dalvin Cook have? Like 15? He's 27. He's old. Like, so I think the narrative is like just younger the better.
Yeah. I've seen him going towards the end of the first round.
Yeah, it's gonna be end of the first.
But have you seen any of the other rookies going before him though, Ping?
Of course, quarterbacks. I think you're gonna get some people who might take Bryce. I haven't done a ton, but I did see
just in Superflex, right?
Just in Superflex.
Okay.
Because I mean, he's the better prospect that for most people than CJ. He's a runner, right? Running quarterbacks are where it's at. So I think that gets not a pure runner by any means. He's no Anthony Richardson or Jalen Hurts, but kind of like Russell, right? Scrambles just enough to be fantasy relevant. And I think that people want that. And like I said, the younger the better, right? Like that's all what Dynasty is about these days.
Right.
Yeah. My only concern with Bijan is landing spot. At this point. Yeah. If he ends up on the Cowboys, I'm just because I think Tony Pollard's definitely going to get his carries this year. And you keep hearing like Bijan to the Cowboys. Like I think at first started as a joke and now people are really buying into it. And if Bijan goes to the Cowboys, I just think his upside is limited. He can have all the talent in the world, but he's not going to be that RB1 that I think people are hoping he's going to be.
I don't know if
first season.
And that was the point I was going to bring up is I don't know if I'm as worried if he lands in Dallas because I think it's a good landing spot overall. I have not been a Tony Pollard truther. Not that I think that he's bad or that he won't do well, but he's older. I mean, he's 20, 25, 26 at this point, and he's just now getting his shot. I don't know that there's much upside for Tony Pollard outside of this year. And so long term, I think that's a fine landing spot for Bijan, but you're right. This year, it would definitely put a little bit of water on that fire.
Which, if you don't have a win now team and you're trying to build, I mean, who's going to get Bijan away though? You know,
right? Yeah.
I've started Dynasty for the last 3 years, so I'm pretty new to still, and none of my teams are win now teams because they just don't win at all. Like I think I'm like 3 and like I'm getting dominated in all the like as good as I am in like best ball or redraft. Dynasty is a completely different mix, and I got dominated across fantasy Twitter, and I'm like, all my teams are rebuilt. Like that's just changed. Like, oh yeah, they're all rebuild teams. Like I'm rebuilding with James Conner. You know,
rebuilding around James Conner.
Yeah.
that's my issue with the win now mentality. I think it gets overused in this community a lot, where like people over-index on. Yes, there's a contingency that plays Dynasty, especially new Dynasty players who overvalue rookie picks, overvalue age. You can take advantage of that for sure. I don't think that is uniform across the entire demographic of people that play Dynasty. And, you know, I think that there's so much variance in this game that leveraging your future to win now will often end up you not winning now, which can suck.
I completely agree with that.
Pat in here said, I've had win later teams for 5 years now.
At this point, I'm just I hope I stop a guy from a playoffs team. Like, oh yeah, see, I had that game. I got lost.
You're just a ruiner.
Like,
yeah,
you know, everyone's a division rival now. Like I'm not. It's so bad. Like I'm really getting stomped in all my.
You're like the water levels in Mario. You're really annoying to play against because you're like hard to beat, but you're like, yeah, I get what
Not
you're saying.
winning at all.
Just like the Mario water levels, Joey. Tim said, I
hate the
prefer
water levels.
I prefer
So
win
tough.
never. Got nothing to play for if I already won.
There you go, buddy.
That's thinking right there.
It's my
That's
brother.
Top age thinking, Timothy. Well done. And Greg said the one thing you cannot overvalue is FYF, unlimited value. Wow. What
And
a
the other
sweet
thing you
plug.
can't overvalue is good Wi-Fi.
It's good Wi-Fi, yeah. And we got Scott Fish in here said, hey guys, quick question. Maybe you can, Joey seems to have become the heartbeat of the show. Any thoughts to centering the show more around him and possibly renaming the show? I'll hang up and listen. Perfect. Listen closely.
Fantasy?
Let's explore this. What would we rename the show if we named it after me?
What would you name it, Joey?
I don't know. The Joe Show? No, that's dumb. That's dumb.
That's
That's
the
horrible.
stupidest suggestion I've ever heard in my life.
Afternoons with Joey? No, that's not good.
Afternoons with Joey in the morning. It's a
Scott and
show.
Joey shooting
Wait,
it straight. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Ooh.
I just hired Scott Fish. Just here.
You could do Baldies and then just you Scott Fish and
it's sliding, but it's not.
You'll have to just do it out of solidarity like Scott Fish does.
You could be like Uncle Joey's Fantasy Time.
Uncle Joey's Fantasy Time. Oh,
Uncle Joey's Fantasy Time is a different show that I run on Friday nights at 11:34 p.m. Eastern.
Uncle Joey's Fantasy Time.
Yo, Nick came in with the best suggestion. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
God, that's so good.
Yes.
Hey, yo, that's so good.
Any troll comes in, mind your business,
Mind
and everybody
your
chants it.
business.
We have a little sign behind that lights up.
God, that's good.
We're doing it. This is
you
it.
Unexpected genius, Nick. Yeah, unexpected genius. And Gator in here said, what did JL do to Simon? Apparently, I have the ability. I didn't know this. I have a superpower. I can knock out Wi-Fi from across the country.
Yeah. Fiesta
Pretty
started
useless.
early in San Antonio.
Fiesta started early. Simon did say he went to the Riverwalk down here. Said, sorry, guys. Had the sudden urge to make sure the Riverwalk was on. Dang it, Joey. Look what you did.
I know.
We got Dustin in here. Said, what's up, fellas? What up, Dustin?
Where's my Team Joe? Well, I guess there's no teams in tiers.
No
Dustin, I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen Team Joey in a few days.
You're slacking, man.
Worry.
Yeah, Joey's self-esteem is just
doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's keep talking rookies. We'll bring Simon back to bring back the list. But Joey, who's the next rookie that you would bring up?
So I think there's an argument like who my rookie 2 would be. Is it Jahmyr Gibbs or is it JSN? And if you're in a dynasty draft and you're trying to choose between, I just think you're choosing, okay, where is my team at? Do I need a receiver or do I need a running back? Because they're pretty close for me. I do like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot, especially if he somehow ends up in Cincinnati. You're hearing a lot of rumors that Joe Mixon might be getting cut, and they're going to want to bring in a top-tier running back, whether that's Charbonnet or if it's Jahmyr Gibbs. So I would probably go Jahmyr Gibbs next.
Jahmyr Gibbs next? Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about Jahmyr Gibbs, Peng?
So I'm the worst for this. So when it comes to Gibbs, there was like 2 people gave him 2 or 3 types of comps. And my face would go like, ugh, and they go, ah? Like really depending on the comp someone gave it. So when somebody said, oh, he's comped to like Alvin Kamara, I was like, I don't like that. And they're like, well, he's actually more like Jamal Charles. I'm like, oh yeah, Jamal Charles. Like efficiency like Jamal Charles, you say. Like like I said, I'm the worst. So my issue with Gibbs is just the size. I would probably take JSN just because I know no matter where he landed, he would have usability. I don't know if Gibbs lands everywhere and is fine. We can always say that a good team, the right team would draft him, but I've seen teams just draft incorrectly all the time. Look at the Niners and their 3rd-round picks, right? Like it happens more often than you would think. And if he ends up on the wrong team, the wrong coach, then I'm not too excited for it.
You're not too excited for him.
Like, but he ends up on finds a way to like the Broncos, Russell Wilson. I'd be stoked. Russell Wilson peppered Javonte Williams with targets, I love veteran quarterbacks. And if he gets one of those vets that make the reads, throws to the flats 17 times per game, then Gibbs is like the guy I would want. Right. But I just don't know if there's that many quarterbacks and teams that do that.
So what tier do you put him in?
I'd put him in the 2nd tier. I mean, I think anyone other than maybe JSN's a tier below. Bijan, because you can argue the position difference between but Gibbs is definitely below Robinson.
Yeah. So Joey, you're saying tier 2. Peng, where'd you put?
If I had to put Gibbs,
Jahmyr Gibbs, yeah. What tier?
Tier 2.
Tier 2. And I'm gonna follow that. I'm gonna make it a full sweep here. Tier 2 for Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay. He really is, in my mind, the second running back off the board here. But I completely agree with you guys. There is a massive tier break. I love me an Alabama running back. That's why I got so much Damian Harris.
Got a good track history.
All right, so we got Jahmyr Gibbs in tier 2. Joey, you're up next. Who you want to bring up?
Since I got to bring, I already went, but I'll go again.
I guess I'm the next guy. All right, I'll bring up the next one here. I'll bring up let's bring up JSN. So we're just starting out filling out the top of this tier list. JSN is the clear number 1 running back in this, or wide receiver in this class. My goodness. I think I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs over Jackson Smith and Jigba, but it's close. It's really going to depend on whether you need a running back or wide receiver to bolster your team. I'm going to still put him in tier 2 here. Joey, you're up next.
Can I talk on JSN?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you're up next. I thought you meant pick a player.
Oh, no. So you're up on JSN.
We get a lot of fantasy analysts and pundits talking about players. I really like when other players talk about players. And there was an interview Matt Harmon did with Garrett Wilson, where Garrett Wilson basically said that he would bet that JSN's a better player than him. And it's very rare that you hear someone say, like, this guy's better than me. And I know they were college teammates, but when I heard that, I got really excited about JSN. Now, he's definitely the best wide receiver in this class. For me, he'd be tier 1.
Tier 1. So we got a tier 2. We got a tier 1. Davis, you're going to have to settle this for us.
I lean with Joey on this. Whenever I hear another player talk about another player, rank another player, say that this is the best person they've ever coached, etc. And I'm going to get weird. Brian Hartline was talking about like his favorite guy he ever coached. And it was like, I think JSN was like in that list as like his favorite person he ever coached. And then, I think about these veteran players who've done it, been pretty good. Not like Brian Hartline's no household name outside of the Dolphins, right? But like that sticks out to me. Garrett Wilson, Brian Hartline, these guys, and even like Steve Smith will call and say like, this guy's it. Then I like that. I like the guys in the position saying that this is the best person. So I put him in tier 1 also. I think he's going to be tier 1 also, maybe because of position scarcity for this type of talent that he's at. He's talked about as being a slot only, but his film has shown he's better than that. So put him at tier 1 for me too.
Tier 1. All right. JSN coming in tier 1 here. And I think that's totally fair. I think to me, there's a clear break after Bijan Robinson, even across position, but I think JSN is the one name that you can bring up that challenges that.
I agree.
He could absolutely, you can make a case for him in tier 1, which means Davis, you are up next. Who would you like to rank?
I'm just going to put it out there. I'll just put Josh Downs. I want to put him at 4.
Josh Downs at 4. Okay.
I'm not a fan of these like smaller guys that are Jamison Crowder. Basically, I don't think these guys really measure up. There's a lot of hype for him, but I think about it. What is he going to do that separates him from the rest of the NFL? And it's going to be not a lot, not in my mind. There's nothing that's particularly special for him there. So I think he's just one of those lower guys at the bottom, like 4 to 5 zone. But I think he's probably at least in the 4 due to what the hype has been on.
So you think he makes it up to the 4 for the hype, but you're not too hyped on his talent yourself?
I mean, what's his upside, right? Like, is he a touchdown guy? Is he a speedster? Like, he doesn't have anything that's going from like a lot of these other wide receivers would have.
Joey, what about you? How you feeling about Josh Downs?
I mean, he's a great slot receiver. He can run routes really well. He's back-to-back seasons at UNC with either 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. So 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns at least. I think he belongs in between tier 3 and 4. I can settle at 4 though, because there are a few guys I like before him. He's my wide receiver 5.
Out of this rookie class. That's not true. Steve Smith's my favorite wide receiver of all time.
You're number one fan. Number one fan. And Simon here said, "Uh-oh, did I just hear Crowder slander?
Did somebody slander Crowder?
Clouder? Someone slander Clouder?
My tongue is.
I don't know if you heard
all over
Clouder
face
slander
today.
Ew, disgusting.
Yeah, not good.
So you both put Josh Downs in 4.
Yeah,
I'm not as confident that he can be good in the NFL. Playing out of North Carolina, I just want to see more. And the landing spot is going to be a huge question mark for a player like this. So I'm going to put him in tier 5. And I think as we fill this out, I might even feel like I need to make the case to push him down more. So 1 5 and 2 4s. 4 is going to win. Josh Downs. Welcome to tier 4.
Welcome.
Yeah,
all by yourself. Stretch out. Get comfortable.
You're there. All right, Joey. Who you want to nominate next?
I'm gonna nominate Jordan Addison. I'm gonna put him in tier 2. He's my second favorite wide receiver in this class. Basically because of his versatility. You can line him up in the slot. You can put him on the outside. He's going to be great anywhere. His quickness and the ability to change direction, basically on a dime, is going to make him a big problem for defenses. I would love to see him end up, maybe even, I don't think he's going to slip though, but if he were to get to like the Vikings, man, that'd be really sexy.
Ooh, like replace that Adam Thielen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be sweet. You put him in tier 2, correct?
Tier 2. Yeah, tier 2.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's my second wide receiver off the board here, and I'm slot him in right behind JSN in my rankings. So I'll put him in tier 2.
Agreed.
Davis, where are you putting old Jordison Addison?
I think he's more like a Jameson Crowder. No, I'm just kidding. No, I like him. I like these polished players. You know, I was comparing it to like the 2014 draft where it's like Amari Cooper, the polished, productive guy, versus Kevin White, which is I guess this year's Quentin Johnson, right? Like athleticism, etc. These polished players, good. They may not hit the athletic scores, but when you're good and you're producing, that's all that matters, right? Like you get points, you get yards, I think Addison's just this guy that can go on any team. I actually hope he goes to the Chargers. To me, it's like Keenan Allen, right? Like Keenan Allen's at a certain point of his age where they do need to move on. Jordan Addison is probably better than Palmer, can fill in eventually for Keenan Allen, and it would not miss a beat. Knows how to play zone, knows how to play good football. That's the tier 2 all day for me. I hope he ends up with, like I said, like the Chargers. He'd be such a good back end fill for the future.
While I like JSN, like as he's my number 1 wide receiver in this draft class, I could see Addison having the best rookie season though, because he can just kind of do
NFL
everything
ready
from wherever they want.
Yeah, I'm with you. Where do you want to put him, Joey?
I already said 2.
You said 2.
Dos Equis.
You both did 2. Okay.
Yep. So it's a sweep.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you guys. He's definitely a smaller wide receiver, but you know he's crazy athletic. The upside is there. So a guy like Jordan Addison, really, this after next week, we're gonna see where he's gonna land in fantasy drafts because I feel like it's gonna be for a player like that. It's gonna be very definitive. If he lands in a good spot, he's gonna shoot up. Otherwise, we might see a discount, and he could be a long-term value in Dynasty. So tier 2 it is. Welcome to tier 2, Mr. Addison. Welcome. All right, I'm next. Who do I want to bring up? Who should I bring up? Before I do, Mr. Scampers in the chat said Jordan Addy. Let's go. Welcome. And Toronto Day said Palmer from Canada. Is he?
Is he Canada?
I think he's talking about Josh Palmer. Maybe. I don't know. All right, next player I want to bring up is Zach Charbonnet. He's a player who I think could maybe touch the tier 3 here. I think he's right on this line between tier 2 and tier 3. He's a bigger running back. I'm going to put him in tier 2. Davis, where are you putting Zach Charbonnet?
I put him in tier 2. Big-bodied, ready for the game, right? Like he's better Brian Robinson, right? That's the idea as people have behind him. And I love these guys, you know, better than a plotter, has hands, can pass block. Like these are the kind of guys that just go in and make a team and then just start. So yeah, tier 2 for me all day. I love it. I comped him to a different type of player, and people kind of think I'm weird for a lot of Chargers talk. Ryan Matthews, kind of a guy that is patient, burst, but kind of stocky at the same time. If Ryan Matthews doesn't get injured his entire career, I think we have him a different limelight. I think Charbonnet is like one of those guys with a little bit more pass catching in college. But Ryan Matthews showed that he could pass catch when he went to Phillip Rivers. So that's where I have him comped at, a bigger Ryan Matthews. So tier 2 for me. And that's the kind of guy you want on your team.
2 tier 2s. Joey, what about you?
Yeah, Charbonnet's visiting my Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. So we'll see. I hope they don't draft him. Not that I don't like him at all, because he'd be a tier 2 for me. I think Rachaad White's going to be fine in Tampa Bay. But with Charbonnet, yeah, tier 2. You guys pretty much hit all the points. And honestly, the reason I'm putting him in tier 2 is because with Gibbs and him, it's honestly landing spot. Like whichever one of them has a better situation to start the season, I'll probably rank as my RB2. Like that's kind of how close they are. So to put them in separate tiers, I can't do that.
Tier 2 is a unanimous tier 2. All right, guys. Who's next? Davis, I think you're up.
Oh, man. My favorite person of the draft, Zay Flowers. Like everyone loves Zay Flowers. I love Zay Flowers. Steve Smith, Short King, loves Zay Flowers. So this is a tier 2 guy for me. All day. I think he has a lot of potential to end up at places. We had the news about the Chiefs wanting him, having him come visit their team for a practice workout. Patrick Mahomes requesting him. I think he can land in so many places. And the way the league is played now, with no contested catches, catching shallow drags, slants, out routes, things like that. Once Zay gets those components down better, like he's just gonna be one of those I take it for 5 yards, run for 90 kind of guys. And I want to see that. I think he's a tier 2 guy. And if Steve Smith is giving him backing, Steve Smith has backed some of the best, tier making dynasty players of all time, I'm going to go with my boy Steve Smith. So tier 2 for Zay Flowers.
Yeah, if Steve Smith gives the
Steve Smith. You guys don't understand how I love Steve Smith. Love the dude.
So which tier did you put him in, Davis?
Tier 2.
Tier 2. All right, Joe, what do you think?
I agree with everything Davis said. Like he's a yak monster. Like he's going to get a lot of yards after the catch. But the one thing I'll say with him is Zay Jones. Why did I say Zay Jones? Zay Flowers. He is definitely someone that you don't want to just read the stats on. Watch the tape on him, because his big criticism coming out of college is that he drops the ball. But if you watched all the wounded ducks flying through the air in his direction, it was amazing that he was able to catch some of those balls. So a lot of that was not his fault. I would still put him in tier 3 though.
I'm signing off.
Not as high on him. There's one guy I have above him that I would put in tier 2 ahead of him.
So which tier you put him in?
Tier 3.
Tier 3. So we
It's
got a tier 2, a tier 3. Yeah, I think
myself.
Zay Flowers, one of the smaller prospects. Yeah, he's. I feel like he's one of the more difficult, really, prospects to put your finger on, figure out what he's going to do in the NFL. He's incredibly fast. Might be able to see some of that explosive type of play that you get from Marquise Brown, or to a lesser degree Tyreek Hill. Those downfields, high ADOT type of targets, those big plays. But there's risk too. I mean, going to BC is, Boston College is not a big football school. There's, and he wasn't crazy productive. So I'm going to put him in tier 3. I'm going to throw him in tier 3. We had 1, 2, and 1, 3, right? From you guys?
Yeah, he said it's 2, 3, so he would be in 3.
So he would be a 3. All right, Zay Flowers.
I rooted for the short guys. All right, on that one. Just remember, for the chat,
to redeem yourself.
Someone's got to. Someone's got to. And we got Dave in here, Toronto Day, saying Peng is hella smart. Facts.
Thanks, Dave.
Scamper said Will Levis, tier 5.
I don't know if there's a tier that we can put Will Levis on the show today. I don't see it on the screen right now.
And Toronto Dave asking, think Zay will go round 1. What do you guys think? Where do you think? Which round will Zay Flowers go in?
It's possible. I mean,
yeah,
it's very possible.
I think 4 receivers could get taken in round 1. I feel like that's the right number for this year, and I could see Zay being the 3rd or 4th.
3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
All right. And Scamper said, not naming your kid Zay Charbonnet is a big miss. God, that name is so good. Zay Charbonnet.
Did you see who Zay Flowers is working out with today?
Who? Zay Charbonnet?
I'm gonna ask you to do an impression of this player when I say their name, JL. So I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah, it's you. Yeah. He's working out with Patrick Mahomes today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that must have been fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Zay Flowers, tier 3. That means Joey, you are nominating our next rookie here. Who do you want to rank?
I mispronounced his name on Fantasy Fortune earlier this year, and it cost me the game.
Oh no.
Quentin Johnston, tier 2 for me. The reason that he's tier 2, he is the best big body receiver in this draft, and the next closest one I would say is probably Cedric Tillman, he's kind of far down my wide receiver rankings. Johnston, he's just a beast. He can run out of the slot. He can play outside, although teams really haven't developed him out there. I look forward to seeing him out there a little more. I think he could easily be taken over Addison if he ends up in the right landing spot. A team that needs a red zone threat, which he needs to be built up as that, because for some reason they take this big body receiver and they didn't want to use him as this big red zone threat at TCU, probably because they were running down the field 65 yards every catch. But Quentin Johnston for me.
All right, where you want to put him?
Tier 2.
Tier 2. All right, Quentin Johnston.
He's been falling a lot lately, though.
And I'm going in next. I think that Quentin Johnston is definitely one of the more difficult players to figure out in this draft. Man, that whole TCU squad just kind of, it feels like a little bit of a trap. Like I feel a little bit worried because I don't know how much of that team was hype and how much of that team was legit. But Quentin Johnston was fantastic nonetheless. So I'm with you. I'm not as maybe confident as you are, Joey. I'm going to throw him in tier 3. Davis, where you want to put Quentin Johnston?
I am putting him in tier 3. I think I said before, these unpolished guys always throw me off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my cat keeps coming back. I know like some of his film pops really well, some film does not, and I think that's the part that scares me. I think it's going to come down to like, is the landing spot perfect? But I think these big body guys always get drafted by certain teams that I don't think that work well with them. It's just a weird way I've seen it. I just don't know if he ends up somewhere good, bad. Like he could probably be like Mike Williams and like I don't like Mike Williams, so it's just kind of how that is. So Quentin Johnston, I think, is a tier 3 for me. I see the potential in it, but potential once again doesn't come up as necessary. I think you have to be more polished in the NFL, and you have to do certain stuff that works well for you. And I think just the NFL will use him incorrectly because they're going to look at his size and not use him as like the type of player I think he could be, like a DK Metcalf type of person. It's a little bit weird saying that. I'm just not in on these type of players. So I do think he's a tier 3. I like certain players more than him.
Tier 3.
I saw someone pop up.
There he is.
Sorry, guys. My internet and air conditioning decided to take off for Fiesta without putting in any sort of notice. So I had to go rein them back in. I found the internet, but I have yet to find the AC.
Okay.
It's probably enjoying Festivus.
Festivus, yeah.
Simon, how much have we pooped the bed on these tiers so far?
Overall, I pretty much agree. I would have Quentin Johnston probably one tier higher. He was not my number 1 wide receiver, but battling for that spot in tier 1 for a while. I understand he didn't measure as well as we had hoped at the combine, but he got that sub 4.5 40-yard time at his pro day, which is fine, not fast, but for a big-bodied wide receiver, someone who, given that red zone role, could contribute immediately for fantasy, I got to put him in tier 2. But that's really my only gripe here.
So that's the only one is Quentin Johnston. Well, then we're doing pretty good. I forget who's up next.
I think so.
Dustin said Quentin Johnston is going to the Giants.
Okay. I can see that.
Okay.
Better than Wandale.
Simon.
I'm back. What's up, Scampers?
Let's let Simon pick a player.
All right, Simon, who do you want to talk about next?
Thank you. You know what? I noticed, I don't know if we've been avoiding them on purpose or not, but there's been a lot of quarterbacks talked about. And I want to talk about who has been at the top of my draft board the entire time and is back up at the top of the NFL's draft board, Bryce Young, who is now a heavy favorite to be the number 1 overall pick in in the NFL. He's a quarterback out of Alabama. And every time I go back and watch this guy play, whenever the hype about CJ Stroud was building, potentially him being the number 1 pick, I went back and I was like, okay, try to be objective. Watch both of these players. Bryce Young just has something about the way he plays that makes me believe he's going to make it in the NFL. We can look at all the numbers, right? Everyone can pull up his stats and see that he was elite in college. You can see that he was unbelievably accurate. Like, I don't need to sit here and tell you all the things that every other person says about Bryce Young. He just looks like he has that it factor, though. And I'm not too scared off by the height whenever a player performed that well in an environment like the SEC, right? Like, he performed against the toughest competition he could in college. So Bryce Young's tier 1 for me, and he is the only quarterback in tier 1 for me.
Only quarterback in tier 1. Whew. I'm with you, Simon. What was that quote that he said about? He was like, "I've been this size my whole life."
Yeah, I forget what the quote was. I'm gonna find it.
All right, tier 1 for Bryce Young. Joey.
So maybe I just don't like this quarterback class that much. Maybe that's what we're finding out today. I'd put him in tier 3 because in a single, like, okay, I have to have one of these guys, single quarterback. I'm not taking him above any of the 5 guys we have in the 2 tiers above him, according to what I said. I like him, but I don't know if he is a franchise quarterback. Now, those words might come back to bite me in the butt. I just don't really see it there with him.
But Joe, you know what? We need a lot of people to say things like that. So whenever he wins his first MVP, we have a good montage tape of like all the haters, right? Like, we need the haters montage tape before the big celebration at the end. So I appreciate you doing that.
You got to edit it correctly too. You got to make it say like, "I don't like his height. I don't like his height. I don't like his height." Just like a remix edition.
Hi. Bryce Young, game-winning touchdown. Super Bowl 58.
What's his height? Tier 3.
Let's go.
Also, Joe, I did find the quote. You almost nailed it. You forgot one word, though. He said, "I've been this size respectfully my whole life."
Wow, so respectful.
Right. Bump him up another half a tier.
Another half a tier. So we got a 1 and a 3 for Bryce Young. I am conflicted on this one because I do believe Bryce Young is the best quarterback in this class. And I think he is probably better than a lot of the quarterbacks we saw last season. But in one quarterback, I'm not going to rank him that high. So if this is super flex, I think I would rank him higher. He'd probably be a tier 1 asset in super flex. But in one quarterback, I just can't do that. I'm going to take these other guys ahead of him. And so I'm going to throw him in tier 3 as well.
We got 2 tier 3s and 1 tier 1. Peng, where are you putting them?
Well, I hate his height. So, no, just kidding.
Hi.
So right off the bat, I'm going to say he's tier 2. I'm not afraid of a lot of those items. I think part of why I think he's a tier 2 for Dynasty as of right now is that there just isn't that many good quarterbacks. So, and I'll bring it back to best ball for just a second. It's, if you look at like the quarterbacks being drafted, there's only like 20 relevant-ish quarterbacks that you can take and go into super flex with. There's not a lot of them. Like, no one's excited to run around with CJ Stroud right now. No one's running around with like whatever the Colts are doing, whatever the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing. Like, Kenny Pickett was kind of a toss-up. There's a lot of questionable teams right now when we've been spoiled with 30 quarterbacks. There are 29 starters. We're in that 20 zone, which is very scary. So I think Bryce Young is a tier 2 guy because I do think he gets a few years. In Dynasty, you get a few years, and he gets better, then you have made upside. We already know that most rookie quarterbacks aren't that good their first year. You know, it just happens. It's just kind of the way it is. So I think Bryce gets a few years from a team, and he has a shot to be better. If you get 3 years of value at Superflex with a quarterback that could run in a couple of touchdowns, I think that's tier 2 to me because you're getting some value out of it. Like, there's no way Bryce Young's out of the league in 2 years.
I'm with you, Peng. The worst case scenario still seems like a fantasy relevant piece there. But with a tier 1, 2 tier 3s, and a tier 2, that's going to put it at 2.25 on average, putting Bryce Young squarely in tier 2.
Does that make you feel good, Simon?
No, I wish he was up there in tier 1, but that is okay.
I tried, buddy. I tried.
You did.
You did try. Thank you, Peng. I appreciate it. You moved him up a little bit there. All right, well, I don't know what order we're going in, so I'm just going to pick a new order. And Peng, you get to pick the next player that we're talking about here. Which rookie would you like to throw on the tier list next? We're starting to fill it out a little bit.
I was going to make a Family Guy joke. He's stronger and faster than the Hulk, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern team, whatever, like that boat from Family Guy. It's Anthony Richardson, the guy that gets like comped to everybody. He's as big as Derrick Henry, faster than Jalen Hurts, smarter than a whale, just like all this stuff. He's a tier 4 guy for me right now. I think tier 4, maybe tier 3. People are really hyping him up, but I was watching a show. A couple of people like give him comps, and they're just like, he's not a good thrower. He's not good at passing. He's not good at passing. But some guys have gotten better. I think once they get settled, there's a shot. He just has to end up on a good team. But I think he's a tier 4 because I think a bad team takes him. I think a bad team takes Anthony Richardson, like the Colts, that have no O-line, no wide receivers, possibly no running back, given how JT goes in the next few years. He would need to end up on a good team like the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts to kind of get his footing. He's going to end up on a bad team. So I want to say tier 4. And he's going to be one of those biggest what ifs. Like, what if he would have gone to a good roster? And yeah, I think he's going to end up on a Colt or something like that. So Anthony Richardson's like a tier 4 for me, maybe tier 3.
Tier 4.
So he's going to end up in a Colt.
Like, he's just going to end up on a bad team. I have a feeling. I feel bad for the guy because that's hard. It's hard when you're unpolished.
It would be shocking if he ended up inside a Colt.
Yeah.
Is he in the rib cage? The other day I was telling my girlfriend about something that happened on an episode of Alone, and she clearly wasn't listening. She looks up and goes, "He lived in the moose's rib cage?" No, I said none of those words. Well, I said moose, but none of the other ones.
Not lived in the moose's rib cage?
Well, Peng's got Anthony Richardson in tier 4, teetering on tier 3, but tier 4.
I also hate his height. He's too tall.
Too tall.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Too tall.
And CJ Stroud is just right. Mm-hmm. Joey, where are you putting Anthony Richardson? Are you with Peng down in tier 4 or higher or lower? Those are your options.
Pushing my Florida Gator bias aside, I'm still going to put him in tier 4. I do like him a lot. I think if Pete Carroll could coach another 10 years, I'd like him more because I do think he ends up with Seattle. Sorry, Pete Carroll. I kind of just aged you out of your job there. So like Ping was saying, if he doesn't end up on a good team, it's a little limited for him. And if he goes to the Colts, I might even move him to tier 5 because I'm not excited about anything that the Colts have going on right now. Tier 4 for me.
Really all that offended that you said he'd be retired by 81?
He's probably just chewing some gum, not even listening to. I don't think Pete Carroll listening to me today, guys.
He can't hear a thing. Can't hear a thing.
He's riding his little Razor scooter around the facilities there in Seattle.
What?
He's doing okay.
People say Pete, and Joe, that's his only response. What? And then just keeps on going on his scooter while chewing his gum.
Not his head a lot.
Out. He does the thing where he leans forward on the handlebars on the Razor scooter and puts his hands out front. And
the Rose from Titanic.
Exactly. Like you're going up into the parking garage of the team facility and you see Pete Carroll like flying down the parking garage ramp with his arms out like Rose.
Just chomping gum.
Did Pete Carroll break his ankle or like sprain it? And he had one of those little scooters with the leg. You know what I'm talking about?
The ones that you like put your shin on?
Yeah, you put your foot on and you kind of move around, scoot around. Did he have
your foot on
that? Or am I just dreaming that? Because he would have a lot of fun with one of those.
You said, did he break his ankle? Because he should.
Because he just seems like the type of guy that would enjoy that.
We got 2 tier 4 so far on Anthony Richardson, and I'm gonna bump it up a little bit. I'm putting Anthony Richardson in tier 3. I think the kind of rushing upside we saw from Justin Fields this year is within reach for Anthony Richardson his rookie year if he starts. And Justin Fields showed us this past year that Bears offense was running almost at the same rate that the Falcons was as far as passing the ball. They were doing nothing, and Justin Fields was still fantasy relevant. The hope is that he develops like Josh Allen did into a better passer, but Josh Allen has spoiled all fantasy managers when it comes to these type of quarterbacks, these more developmental, just has all of the measurables, but didn't quite put it together in college type of quarterbacks. Maybe Anthony Richardson never reaches it. The rushing floor is enough to provide fantasy value for me. So I'm going to put him in tier 3, but the upside is what's putting him there. He could be in a couple of years, we're talking about him as a tier 1 guy, or he could be not starting ever again in the NFL. There's a lot of risk with this dude.
Yeah, you guys all brought up great points, which I agree with. I think I lean more towards Simon here, where I am bullish on Anthony Richardson. I think enough teams will. It's going to suck if he lands on a bad team, but I think enough teams will need a quarterback that they'll take a shot on Anthony Richardson in the draft. So I'm going to throw him up in tier 3.
Tier 3. Right. So we
had tier 4 because there's 2 3s and 2 4s, right?
And the tie goes to the guest.
Goes to the guest.
Peng putting them in 4, dragging Anthony Richardson down to tier 4 right there. We probably got time to talk about one more player. Joey, are there any players you're itching to talk about before we hop off here?
Is it one more player per person?
No, I think one more is probably.
Oh man, okay, I got to pick a good one then. Can I pick someone that's not on the page?
No. That's the one rule.
Okay, give me a minute.
If you ask again, might be a different answer.
It would be Tajay Spears if I could talk about another player. Let's do A-Chain then. Devin A-Chain.
Yeah. What tier are you going to put him in, Joey? And
I'll put him in 4. Huh? What'd you say?
I said, and why? Huh?
Whoa, there's a lot of aggression coming at me. I put him in tier 4. He's a really speedy running back. A team looking for a fast running back could really go a long way with him. And if they just don't have a spot for him to begin with, put him in the return game. It'd be really exciting to see him there. So yeah, it'd be A-Chain for me in tier 4. Be the next player.
Tier 4, Peng. Are you following Joey's lead with A-Chain in tier 4, or where are you going to put him?
Tier 4, possible tier 5. It's the size. I just kind of reminds me of, oh my God, I'm talking about a lot of Chargers today. Remember Brandon Oliver? Like that kind of like truckish 5'8", 5'9", 210 running back type. Could be quick on the ground. It just reminds me of Brandon Oliver in that regard. Of these type of guys just don't generally do too well in the NFL because they don't have the size that goes to be a plotter. Efficiency guys are great, and I like A-Chain's tape, but I just don't know if the NFL views it the same way we would. So I think he's a tier 4 guy. I feel like he's always going to be in a committee, and I think that sucks for value, like the back end of the committee.
I tend to
the back end of the committee,
and it's not due to not liking this guy or not liking his college tape, like you said. Peng, I don't know what else to add. It's his size for the type of back that he is. That size can work in that role in college. I don't think that size can work in that role in the NFL. He was a dude who made his money after contact in college, right? He was running behind not a great line. He'd get hit at the line, and he's making the most out of every single one of those opportunities, even after he's hit. In the NFL, the body's going to be a little bit bigger.
And better.
I don't think a 5'9", 190-pound dude like A-Chain is going to be able to make that kind of noise in the NFL. That's not to say he can't have a role, but it's not going to be the same electricity we see when we go back and watch his college tape. I'll agree with you guys. Tier 4 for me as well.
I'll wait till my turn.
It is your turn.
Oh, then perfect.
Scamper's comment is great. I like that. I wish to start calling them that.
Scamper said committee caboose is not
is what it is.
It's
the committee caboose. The Boston Scots, the Gainwell is like the back end of the butt. Like,
the back of the centipede. You're the third person in the human centipede.
Oh, it's the best spot. And
Scott said I refuse. The worst spot.
It's definitely not the worst. No, that's for sure. Scott said I refuse to draft players shorter than me, also those younger than me.
But you're pretty tall, Scott.
My teams don't do well.
Like that's. In fact, if he doesn't draft Derrick Henry, his team just has Cordarrelle Patterson as his only running back.
Oh no. Well, it's my turn again. Yeah, A-Chain, I'm with you guys. Just a little too small. We've seen players. The only thing I really have to add here is we've seen players who are incredibly physically talented, who are smaller, on the smaller size in the NFL, who we've gotten hyped about for fantasy football. And it hasn't really worked out in most cases. There hasn't been long-term staying value. So I'm with you guys. I'll throw him in tier 4 or tier 5.
Okay, so 3 tier 4s and 1 tier 5 makes him in tier 4. Devin A-Chain, tier 4, John Luke. Also, I'm realizing that I don't know what it is. Every year I fall for the incorrectly sized players. The ones that they say are very big or very small. Like it's never the normal sized ones. Like my favorite players are always like Quentin Johnston and Sky Moore. It's never like the guy who's just the right size. I only like the ones that are
5'11" is 6 flat. Like you're just completely invisible to Simon. Oh God, that guy is 5'11", 6. Gross.
Grow already.
Get shorter and taller, my guy. Pick a side.
Pick a side.
Pick a side. We're taking teams here, baby.
Everyone in like a normal range of height is just riding the fence.
Simon, when you're on a road trip and you see one of those signs, it's like world's largest like ball of twine or whatever, or you're like, oh my God, we got to go see that.
It depends on what it is and how they're advertising it. If the billboard looks like handmade, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
If the billboard looks like a Ripley's Believe It or Not or Guinness Book of World Records overdone like kind of thing, I'm out. But like if it's just like someone painted in red letters on the sign like biggest peach pit in Arkansas, I'm pulling over to see that peach
That's
pit.
a good rule. That's a good rule to live
One
by.
time I was driving through Georgia and I saw a sign on the road that said world's biggest bitch and it had an arrow pointing. I really wish I'd have gone down that road. Probably some guys.
I thought it was like pointing at you or something.
I was gonna say that's where I live. I lived right around the corner from that sign.
Oh, that's such a good billboard idea. World's biggest bitch is just like
there is
a big ass mirror.
I think the only like world's biggest that I've seen regularly, and it's in Georgia. And if you ever want to stop and see something ridiculous that has no purpose, the Big Chicken right outside of Atlanta at a KFC. It's just this giant chicken attached to a KFC for no reason, and the mouth opens and closes, and it's been there forever.
Nice.
So check out the Big Chicken if you like big chickens.
Big chicken.
Guys, that is going to be it for us today in our fantasy rookie tiers going into next season. Peng, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come up and impart some of your knowledge on us as we ran through the 2023 rookies.
I might have misled a lot of people. I'm sorry. I am, like I said, there's a reason why I'm like bottom to dead last, in the toilet bowl of like 7 Dynasty leagues right now. So take whatever I said with a grain of salt. Come back in 5 years. Maybe we'll be better off.
Well, guys, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, it is best ball season. It is upon us with the NFL draft happening in exactly 1 week, and Peng is your dude when it comes to best ball.
Absolutely.
So make sure you're following him on Twitter right now. Do not miss it. He's on Twitter at Peng's Picks, right there below his handsome face on the screen.
So
Peng's Picks, easy to remember. And check out his work over at Fantasy Sixpack and Stokastic.com. That is going to be it for us today, guys. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time for some more fantasy football game show fun. Until tomorrow, though, adios, everyone. Wait, what's going on, JL?
Don't we have stuff tonight?
We do have stuff tonight. I completely forgot.
Crazy bastard.
I'm like, am I
You don't
free
even
tonight?
have to wait until 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. In 2 hours, you guys can catch us on the FanDuel YouTube channel for the
1 hour.
FYF hour.
1 hour.
In 1
In
hour.
1 hour. There you go.
Guys, just let me say it wrong, damn it. And then in 2 hours at 5:05 p.m. Eastern time, you can join us for a mock draft on our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. We've got a Superflex Dynasty mock, and if you want to be a part of it, join our Discord because the link to join is in there, and I think there's a couple spots left in that chat.
2 last time I checked. 2 spots left.
Until an hour from now, everybody, 1 hour, not 2. We are out of here. Thank you again to Peng. Thank you to everybody in the chat who came and hung out with us on this beautiful Thursday. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Adios, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. That was loud.